Thank you. Tell me if this is too loud. Thank you. Get me today! Exclamation point tech. Yes, I did mute my microphone for a bit. So basically, point being is thank you. Yes, I see that. David, get me today! Tech Micah, Tech Ryan, losing traditions. That's a funny name. I hope you guys are all doing well. But yes, we're doing something different today. Um, yes. Hold on. Let me just. I I've got all this loaded up. But basically, you're going to get to see my computer screen today. And yeah, so I got the new computer. So if I could just get this to work, it's not working. Da, 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 okay. Okay. Hold on. Guys. I apologize for missing comments, missing anything like that. It's my first time doing it like this, so I just want to make sure everything works properly. And please work. Oh, come on. Can you see? No. Oh my gosh. All right, so this is gonna be complicated. Yeah. Okay. Give me a second. I'm trying to figure out how to make you see my screen. This just worked a minute ago. Um, show settings. No. All right. But I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you enjoyed the races this weekend. Obviously, it got a little freaky there at the end with all of the cautions. We had a record 5 overtimes. 5 overtimes. Yeah, it was fun for a bit, but then it got a little crazy. If you ask me, I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are. But yeah, just overall a crazy race there at the end. And yeah, a guy who was kind of almost irrelevant in a sense ended up winning that thing. Joey Logano is not irrelevant in general. Just yesterday, he was never really competing for the win, but the way things played out, he ended up getting the win. Obviously, it would have been a little bit more nuclear for the playoff field if Zane Smith won, but it did not come down to that. Okay. All right, let's try this again. Okay. And screen. Nope. Okay. Vanilla chocolate. Chocolate. I prefer chocolate. Thank you for asking. Nashville works better as a night race. Yeah, I went to the night race last year. It was fun. It was much cooler. Yeah, man, it was way too hot looking at the temperatures this weekend. Obviously, the Xfinity Series race, everyone was like passing out from everything. So, yeah, I mean, this is just not working. It's really making me mad. Um, I might just say screw it and might just go full screen. But yeah, the night race, obviously, I prefer that if we're being honest. But um, obviously, someone, my guess is TV related, um, wanted it to be a day race. The 2:30 start time obviously is popular, and just whatever it is, they just really like that. So yeah, it sucks, I guess, but you know, just the way it goes sometimes. So I wish it was. Yeah, I'll go. I tell you what. While I screw around with this, I'm gonna go ahead and just make this full screen. Center myself. Nope, wrong way. But yes, hi. Full screen for now. Once I can figure out the screen thing, guys, this is week one of me testing this. Once I figure out how to show you my screen, which I used to be able to do, but this is my first time doing it on this. Nope, didn't do anything. then we will be able to look at the results, look at the fantasy standings, anything else we want to look at, and it can be a lot more fun, more interactive, and all that stuff. But unfortunately, something with my settings just wants to be complicated here. Thoughts on Larson versus Hamlin? Yeah, those two can't get away from each other, obviously. But it's also predictable because they're always running at the front. I mean, those are arguably the two best drivers in NASCAR right now. So they keep finding each other at the front of the field. They keep on running into each other. They keep running each other up the track, bumper, whatever it may be. And, I mean, as I said, it's no real shock. Just because, I mean, those are the two best drivers right now. There's a reason they both have the most wins, or they're tied for the most wins. They're running 1-2 or 1-3 in the point standings, so there's a reason they keep having these run-ins. It's becoming a rivalry in a sense. Everyone's talking about it as that. I know Larson and Hamlin keep denying it, but it's a rivalry, I would say. I know they're not physically fighting or anything, but just because two guys, are running into each other on the track doesn't mean they have to dislike each other off the track. You know what I'm trying to say? So NASCAR needs a rivalry. They need something. They need a rivalry. And if it's Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, that's a great one if you ask me. So, yeah, all right. Camera. Okay, that's not it. Accessibility. Okay. I will have this figured out by next week, but I really want to figure it out before the end of the stream. It would make everything so much nicer. What's up, Daniel Barry Sports Highlights? Hope you're doing good. You predicted Stenhouse would have a Buescher 2023 type season, win 4 races. Boy, was I wrong. Yeah, man. No, yeah. JTG Doherty is not having that kind of season. No. They are having quite the opposite. They are running in the mid-20s, I want to say, in the points. They're just not having a good year. So, ultimately, I mean, last year they won the Daytona 500. It's a super speedway. The super speedways, crazy things happen and whatnot. So, just, I don't know what else to tell you. You had some very high expectations for JTG Doherty, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., but I did not see that happening. You were extremely optimistic there. Who said that? Get me today! ! Tech. Yeah, you were very optimistic there. All right, I clicked on some more things. Let's see if that works. No, okay. You're gonna be complicated today. No. Oh, wait. Hold on. I might have figured it out. Wait, hold on. Okay, click that. No properties available. Okay. Well, make it available. Dang it. This has become so complicated. All right. This doesn't work. I'll just work on it after. No, what do you mean no? I'm plugged in. I'm plugged into you. All right, okay. After this, I'm going to give up. I'm going to give up on trying to get my screen on here. It's unlocked. It's got the little... Okay. And now we are going to click this again. No, not that one. Stop it. You gotta be kidding me. This. Settings. Make it available. Okay. All right, I officially give up. We're just going to do this for the rest of the time where you have to look at my weird-looking face. So, yeah. Okay. I've given up on trying to get things on my screen. Next week, I will have it figured out. Next week, you will be able to see what I see on my screen. You'll be able to see the point standings, the fantasy standings. You'll be able to see... anything else that We may need to see, I don't know what that may be. Like if we need to look up the playoff bubble or something. I know we did that yesterday in the video, but some people, I guess, don't know it. But I got my iPod phone here for comment, so that's why I'm looking down. I keep on looking up. I got a monitor behind my laptop. Anyways, okay. Let's talk about NASCAR now. Kyle Larson paid back Denny Hamlin. He failed at paying back Denny Hamlin, I would say. He definitely attempted, but once again, it was a pretty pathetic attempt. I get what he was going for, to bump him up the track, move him up the track, but yeah, no, he would have had to get there a little bit earlier. Just, you got to do something else there, Kyle. That was rough. That was a pretty rough attempt. He could have done better. But the worst part about it is he took out a bunch of cars, a bunch of good cars. Chastain had a great shot at the win there. Chastain got a decent restart. Ty Gibbs got caught up in that. A few other guys. So just a dumb move by Larson. I get you want to get him back. I get he's raced you kind of dirty in a sense. But yeah, it wasn't pretty. And yeah, he should be getting some backlash for that for sure. Just because, I mean, just straight up, it was a dumb move. You think Kyle Busch can make it to the playoffs? Not on points. He's got to win. I guess I should read the rest of the comment. If Chicago is as crazy as last year, he could have a shot to win, but I don't know because nothing can go right for him this year. So, yeah, I mean, obviously if things get crazy in Chicago, he could very well. He finished top 5 in this thing last year. But he also drove it straight into the wall last year, so a bit of a up and down day. But it was an up and down day for literally everyone in the field last year, even the winner, Shane Van Gisbergen, even Justin Haley. Who else was in that top 5? Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch. They all had up and down days where they were back in the pack at some point. Either strategy or driving their way up through the field got them up there. And this year it doesn't look like we're going to get rain on Sunday, so it'll be a little bit more of a normal race. But if it ends up raining, then, bring the chaos back. It'll even things out a bit. But yeah, we could have a weird winner. I would say the best chance at a different winner would be Michael McDowell. You look at the road course guys, you look at Larson. Larson's the most recent winner. Byron's done good on road courses in the next gen era. Christopher Bell, dominated the first half of this race last year, swept the stages. Tyler Reddick's done good on all the road courses. So I think we're going to get a repeat winner. But if I had to pick the best chance for someone to blow up the bubble, my first pick would be McDowell, just because he has to win. He's a really good road course racer. He's going to be top 10 on speed at worst. So I'd expect Michael McDowell to potentially be the guy this week to nuke bubbles in terms of speed. But, we could get a situation like last year, just a weird time caution. People stay out. The track position is key, and we get, Justin Haley again, and he wins in a Rick Ware racing car. So, get me today! ! Tech has some predictions. Justin Haley wins Chicago. Todd Gilliland wins Daytona. Eric Jones wins Darlington. I'd say Todd winning Daytona is the most realistic. I don't think Justin Haley wins Chicago. He's going to need a miracle. They've been running good this year, very good this year. They had a top 20 at COTA before getting disqualified, but they're going to need some of that luck they had last year, or what he had last year when he was with Colleague in this race to lead all those laps. They're not going to be able to outpace Larson, Bell, Reddick. They're going to need a lot of help. And then as for Daytona, it's anyone's game, but front row's been so good on the super speedways, not just in the race, but in qualifying as well. So Todd Gilliland has a great shot to get his first career win there. Eric Jones is great at Darlington, but Legacy Moto Club has been just straight up bad this year. So you're asking for a lot there, if you ask me. Did you hear about Hailie Deegan is not racing this weekend? Yes, I did see that. That was breaking news a few hours ago. For those who don't know, Hailie Deegan, who's been driving the AM Racing 15, this year in the Xfinity Series is not racing at Chicago this week. There's no long-term announcement in terms of if she's like done for the year. But she is out this week, and Joey Logano, two-time Cup Series champion, will actually be driving that car. Last year, Cup drivers were not allowed to drive in the Xfinity Series just because it was the first time at a track. You don't want to give anyone an advantage. But this year, we're going to see Kyle Larson in the field. AJ Allmendinger, Shane Van Gisbergen are going to be doing the double duty. And now Joey Logano. Joey Logano is going to be doing double duty. He's going to step into the 15 car. Obviously, tough for Hailie Deegan, but it's been a terrible year for her. They've had their share of issues that haven't been her fault, but also there's been some incidents or there's been some races where she just hasn't performed. So it's been a rough year for her, been a rough year for that team. You hate to see it happen, but ultimately that's just how it went down. And unfortunately for her, she's out for this week. Once again, I'm not sure what really happened. I'm not sure who made this decision or whatnot, but yeah, we'll see. Let's see here. Joey Logano fuel. Yeah, Joey Logano, I don't know how he saved that much fuel. That was crazy because you saw Hamlin run out about 10 laps. I want to say 10-ish laps before. Larson a little bit more, like 14, 15 laps before. And then Chase Briscoe, who pitted 3 laps after Logano, ran out of fuel on the last lap. But Joey Logano stretched it 110 laps, which 75 to 80 was pushing it. But 110, I get there was a lot of cautions. I get there was a lot that happened, but it's mind-boggling. 110 laps. And obviously he passed inspection, so all the conspiracy theorists, they're still throwing some out there. But, you know, let's be honest. I mean, Joey Logano just did a great job saving fuel. I don't know if it's because he was just really slow and he wasn't burning up that much fuel, or he just knows something we don't in terms of the caution. But he somehow, some way, just knows what he's doing. I couldn't tell you what, but Joey Logano's a fuel-saving expert, which is crazy because, let's see how many years ago. Oh, my goodness, it's been 9 years. 9 years ago, I watched him run out of fuel right in front of me at Pocono. I guess technically it wasn't right in front of me. It was over on the Long Pond straightaway, but close enough. Close enough. I watched him pit for fuel. You think Riley Herbst will win an Xfinity race this year? Yeah, he's been doing really good. He kind of talked about it where they've had some issues this year, and if it wasn't for those issues, they could be top 2, top 3 in points. And honestly, he's been very consistent. Kind of like what Chase Elliott's doing in Cup, I feel like, where they're consistently finishing races. They're consistently in the top 5, top 10. They're just not quite to that winning speed. And that's ultimately what it's been. You know, they got a bunch of top fives. I want to say 7, 8. Let's see here. He only has 3 top 5s. Okay. Well, I was wrong there. But he sits 5th in the points. Point being, he's running a lot more consistently. And, yeah, so there you go. He's been much more consistent this year. Will you continue the Monday after even when the season is over? That is a good question. I got a lot of time to figure that out, so I will not give you an answer on that. I mean, I can still do weekly live streams, but I don't know if it'll be on Monday. It could be Tuesday. It could be Thursday. I'll find something maybe, but obviously, it'll be a little bit more different to tie it into the racing season since the season will be over. Thoughts on the Sage Karam news today? Sage Karam, what happened with him? I somehow missed that. You got a new sponsorship? Yeah, I mean, it's a good-looking paint scheme. I mean, I don't know if that's just the news, but good for him. He's got a sponsor. He did really good at, I think it was, I want to say it was Coda. I think he ran top 5 there in that Xfinity Series race. So He's good at those road courses, and I hope he does good again this weekend. The entry lists are out. We talked a little bit about it. We talked about the Xfinity entry list a bit. We said Larson's going to be in the field. Allmendinger, SVG are doing the doubleheader, and that Joey Logano would be joining that list of doing the doubleheader this weekend. So, yeah. Alex Bowman's next win. That is a fantastic question. They're consistently top 10 in speed, I feel like. They're not even quite to top 5 speed. They showed it at Dover. Dover, they were top 5 most of that race. But other than that, they have not shown any winning speed this year. In fact, well, you can't. This is why I'm so frustrated that this isn't working, because I could show you the laps led, but I can't. Alex Bowman sits 13th in the points. He's led 6 laps this entire season. And if I had to guess, most of those would have been on a super speedway or through pit cycle. But, I mean, everyone around him, with the exception of Brad Keselowski, has led 100-plus laps. I mean, like, you go to the front of the field, obviously, Larson's led over 700, Hamlin's led over 700, Reddick's led over 400. But even further back, Blaney's led almost 400. Ty Gibbs has led 311. Chastain's led 163. Buescher 148. Even guys behind him, Joey Logano's led 225. Kyle Busch has led 130. Bowman's only led 6. That's ultimately what it's going to come down to. And right now, Alex Bowman, I'm just going to say it straight up. He's in a bad position right now. I know he's above that cutoff line, and I know he's got 51 points. But all it takes is a Michael McDowell win this week. All it takes is a Todd Gilliland win at Daytona, and suddenly he's behind that cutoff line. Now, luckily for him, right now, it's only a handful of points between him and Buescher, him and Gibbs, and he's not sitting in the worst position if it came down to that, but you don't want it to come down to that. They need a win, so they're not technically in must win, but they should not feel comfortable. They should not be sleeping well. As for his next win, you look at, he's done well at the intermediates in the next gen. He's got that win at Vegas. He's led laps at Kansas, Charlotte, I think. So Michigan, maybe. Super speedways, anything can happen. He's got a win at Richmond. That's on the schedule. The Brickyard, maybe Hendrick shows up and just obliterates the field. They run 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe Bowman just figures it out a little bit better. He's won at Pocono before, so he's got that going for him. So if it comes down to points, he'll make it. The fact of the matter is that he's got 10 top 10s, which is tied for third in the league. But they haven't run top 5 enough. They've got 4 top 5s, which is good, but considering their position, it's not good enough. They're not scoring enough stage points. They're not running up front enough in terms of competing for the win, and that's ultimately their problem right now. Do you think Cam Waters will make another Cup start this year for RFK? If it does, I think it would have to be an oval. I think the way the schedule works out with Supercars and Cup is that there's no road courses. Like Sonoma was the one road course that there was no Supercars race that weekend. So if it happens, it has to happen at an oval. I don't know which oval it would be. I don't know which ovals are open when Supercars aren't racing, but I don't know. I really don't know, to answer your question. Are you going to watch the IndyCar race at Mid-Ohio this weekend? Probably not, just to be brutally honest. I don't even know what time it is. If it's the same time as Cup, I'm definitely not watching it, but I guess I could Google it. IndyCar Mid-Ohio. The race is at 12:30 local for me. So I guess technically I could watch a little bit of it, but I probably won't, just to be brutally honest with you. Apologies if I crushed your dreams, crushed your soul there. It is stupid that NASCAR is allowing Cup drivers to win the Xfinity race at Chicago this year because it was barely a race last year. I get what you're saying. That race was super short. It was raining the whole time. There was a lot of caution laps. I get the frustration for sure. It's just, I mean, I feel like we're at year 2. They've got data on the track now. They've got laps in from practice. And in a sense, I get what you're saying, but it's too late. It's too late. They can't change their mind, so nothing's going to change about it. It is the way it is. Obviously, I mean, I could probably guess the top 3 right now, and if it's a normal race, it'll probably be right. I mean, that's this ultimately. If this race is normal, it could be like an F1 race in terms of we know what the top 3 is going to be, and we could probably guess it in order right now. But if it comes down to late race cautions, restarts, pit strategy, fuel mileage, we could get a weird winner. We could get a normaler winner, but just one we wouldn't see on a road course. You know, like if, I don't know, like, trying to think. Like if, for example, like if Chandler Smith won. Like, yeah, you expect Chandler Smith to be competing for the win every week, but I would not pick him to win on a road course, especially when you've got SVG and Allmendinger in the field, and this week you got Larson in the field. Like that, Chandler Smith would probably not be a top 5 pick for me this week, but if he won, it wouldn't be too shocking. But, you know, as I said, so could come down to that. But I mean, my top 3 for Xfinity right now, I'd guess SVG, Larson, Allmendinger. That's my top 3. And if the race is normal, I feel pretty good about that in that order. So obviously I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. I'll be very wrong again. I mean, you should have seen my top 10 picks from Nashville. I think I went 1 for 10. I think I had Tyler Reddick 3rd, which I'm pretty proud that I got 1 right. But everyone else was nowhere close. So, do you think Harrison Burton loses his ride halfway through the shoot? No. NASCAR, I get Haley Deegan, and that's different. But, I mean, Harrison Burton's had a rough season, but these past couple of weeks haven't been bad. Obviously, you look at this week and, you know, the Hocevar incident, and then Harrison ended up crashing out. And yeah, but other than that, they've run pretty decent for their standards. They've got back-to-back top 20s before this week, so it's just ride it out at this point. Everyone knows what's going to happen. That seat's going to open up. Someone's going to go there. Harrison Burton's going to have to move on. So it's just, I don't think they should. I've never been a believer in firing someone mid-season unless they do something like atrocious. Like if Harrison Burton was totaling cars every week, then okay, that's understandable, but I don't think it's been that bad. I mean, it's been really bad, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he should be fired mid-season. When's Dawson Cram's next NASCAR Xfinity race? Did not expect to get that question tonight, but I will answer it because the entry lists are out, my friends, and I will tell you exactly what this entry list says. Let's see. Here we go. Nope, that's Cup. Oops. All right, Xfinity entry list. Who was I looking for? Dawson Cram. Dawson Cram usually drives the 4. Nope, Ty Dillon's in the 4 this week. Dawson Cram. I'm looking for Dawson Cram. Can't say I've done this before. The 45 is TBA. Maybe you'll get lucky there. The 53 is TBA. Maybe you'll get lucky there. Other than that, nope. I don't see Dawson Cram on this entry list unless I missed him. I do that every once in a while, but yeah, sorry. Don't see Dawson Cram. Sorry if that makes you sad. Well, get me today, exclamation point tech. I'm glad you love the videos. Yeah, okay. So as you can see, this is not my normal background. I'm all turned around. This is my normal background. I sit back in that corner over there and make videos and usually do the live streams, but I finally got a new laptop. It's fully operational. It doesn't scream at me, and it doesn't act like it's about to blow up every 5 seconds. So this is brand new. It works, it's operational. But I wanted to do live streams with the ability of you to see my screen, to see, when I'm talking about the race results, for you to literally see the race results, to see the fantasy standings, to see the playoff bubble, to see whatever I want to show you. So the entry list, for example. But ultimately, I tried to figure this out too late, so I take responsibility for that. I waited too late to try to figure this out. And, this is the first time logging into my streaming app in, first of all, a long time. Second of all, first time on this computer. And ultimately, I can't show you my screen. The goal was to do this, where I sit down here in the corner, like this. I turn on my screen. Maybe it'll work this time. Nope, it's not working. And then I would point to things on the screen. You'd get to see the point standings, but it's not working this week, so you're just going to have to wait till next week to see my screen once I figure it out. I obviously have to figure this out by tomorrow. This is how I'm doing the 5,000 subscriber special. But, yeah, so that's why the background is different. I apologize if you were looking for the normal one. Yes, I will admit, that is a better background over there, but when I do the live streaming, I have a desk, I have my computer, I have my monitor, so I can see how everything's going. I can see the audio level. I can see this little thing that's telling me how fast the stream is. I can see how long I've been going live. Realistically, I should put the comments up there too, but I could put them on my laptop, but it's too late for that. Cheering for Daniel Dye in the truck race. Yeah, Daniel Dye, what a race for him. I did not have him in my top 5 last week, but he ran great. All day, honestly. Truck race and Xfinity race, I will admit, they were not the greatest races. They were not the most entertaining races. But Christian Eckes wins again. Christian Eckes has been killing it. Him and Corey Heim, obviously, 1-2 in the standings, 1-2 on the wins total. They're every statistic. And the most impressive thing was that Christian Eckes led every freaking lap of the race. He led 150 out of 150. Mind-blowing. So, and then to the point you're talking about, what a race for Daniel Dye to finish second, run up front, 48 points on the day. Great day. An absolutely fantastic day for Daniel Dye. So he's had his flashes. This was obviously one of them, but a great day for him. I did not expect him to be running up there, but he was great. He had a top 3, top 5 truck all day. So an absolutely fantastic day for him, as you said. So much praise on him. Daniel Dye and Zane Smith were so close. Let me tell you, I was rooting for Zane Smith there at the end. I'm not a Zane Smith fan or anything, but you guys know how much I dislike these playoffs. And seeing Zane Smith, who has sat 34th in standings all season long, winning a race and getting to the playoffs, that would have been something. Obviously, on a serious note, though, Zane Smith, it feels like everything's gone wrong for him and that team this year. Whether it's a tire going down early. I think he had a tire go down early at Atlanta. Vegas, he hit the wall early, and that just derailed his day. Getting involved in crashes, just being straight up slow. So for them to finally have not just something go right, but everything go right for them in a day, and they may have had some bumps in the road early in the day that I missed, but for them at the end of this race, when everyone's wrecking each other, when everyone's running out of fuel in front of the field, for them to survive all that, and for Zane Smith to pick up a second place finish, that's incredible for him. That's incredible for that team. The 71 team, Zane Smith, have desperately needed something to go their way. They've desperately needed some confidence, and hopefully this gives them something. Hopefully they can run a little bit better the rest of the season. I'm not saying they should go and run second place every weekend. Obviously, that'd be nice. It's not going to happen, but hopefully they can run top 20 more consistently. Maybe even get into the top 15 a few more times. Get a couple more top 10s on the season. Hopefully this rolls into something more consistent, more just straight up better. Obviously, just the way it happened, people are going to call it fluky, say it's not going to happen again. And yeah, in a sense it was. But the fact of the matter is, Zane Smith finished second. He avoided all the crap at the end. And he had a shot at the win. He had a legitimate shot. If Reddick and Logano just bump each other once, Zane Smith's the winner. I'm sitting here on Monday probably not saying words just because I am just mind blown. But fantastic week for Daniel Dye. Fantastic week for Zane Smith. You always love to see underdogs finishing up front. And I know Zane Smith, he's won Truck Series championship. He's got a Trackhouse contract. But just with how bad this year's been, he's been an underdog in a sense. So it's good to see him run well. It's good to see him get a great result. As I said, with all the bad luck they've had, it's great to see something go his way. Daniel has a lot of talent. I don't know why people are calling him a buzz when Jake Garcia is lower than him in the points in a Thor Sport truck. Yeah, Jake Garcia, I haven't paid a ton of attention to him. He got a top 10 this past week, but obviously, Thor Sport, I feel like Thor Sport as a whole has been down a bit. I mean, Ben Rhodes, I know he's won a couple championships. I think they had 2-3 wins, so they weren't dominating the league last year. But, I mean, Thor Sport, I feel, just has had a little bit of a down year. Majeski sits 4th in the points. Rhodes is 8th. But then, you got to go back to 15th for Jake Garcia. So that's definitely disappointing. I'm not going to deny that. But as I said, I just think Thor Sport's a little bit down. They haven't won yet this year. I know Majeski's had his flashes where he's led a bunch of laps. He's led 246 laps. That's 3rd most in trucks. So he's been up front. He's got the most stage wins, tied for the most stage wins. But ultimately, as I said, I just think Thor Sport's a little bit down as a whole. But Jake Garcia, yeah, when you have to scroll a little bit more to find him on the point standings, that's disappointing. And while I'm at it, I saw Lane Riggs on here. I cannot believe the penalty they gave Lane Riggs this weekend. Lane Riggs did exactly what Kyle Busch did at the All-Star race and got a 2-lap penalty for reckless driving. That was one of the stupidest penalties I can remember in recent memory because we see it all the time. Someone gets run up the track, someone gets put in the wall, and they go and retaliate on the other half of the racetrack by spinning someone out. We see it all the time, no penalty. Maybe a fine at the end of the week, or maybe, they get yelled at on the radio, they get called to the hall or post-race, but never do you see, or rarely, I should say very rarely do you see someone get a 2-lap penalty. And then what makes it worse is 2 days later, Carson Hocevar, under caution, hooks a left and turns one of his competitors, Harrison Burton, which right-rearing someone is bad 100% of the time. Right-rearing someone under caution is even, well, you could argue it's more dangerous at high speed, but when there's safety people on the track, when there's AMR safety crew, when there's officials, when there's people on the racetrack when that's happening. I get it was 15 seconds after the caution, but the yellow's out, everyone's slowed down, everyone's kind of relaxed, and when you pull something like that, that should have been a 2-lap penalty. What Lane Riggs did, you can yell at him, yeah, but that is not a 2-lap penalty. What Carson Hocevar did, that is absolutely a 2-lap penalty. And I think he's going to get fined this week. I think he might even get docked points this week. Suspended? Probably not. Let's be realistic. I think the debate should be there if he should be suspended. I don't think they'll do it, but if I had to guess, 25 points off and fine him $25,000. I don't know. That's my guess, but Hocevar should be penalized for that. That was absurd. Hocevar's had a great rookie season. He's done a fantastic job of keeping his cool. Historically, he's had some moments where he right-reared someone at Martinsville, and I think he got parked for that. He's had some incidents. And this year so far, he's gotten through the year without any incidents like this. But what he did yesterday, that was unacceptable. Under caution and right-rearing someone is bad all the time, as I said, but under caution, that's ridiculous. There's some weird noises going on outside. Sounds like a robot. The robot takeover is happening. Well, tough. Daniel has a lot of talent. I don't know. Oh, wait, I already read that. We read that. Will we get 16 winners? Will we get 16 winners? if we were to get 16 winners, we're at 11 right now on the Cup Series side. Here's how it would happen. We've got 7 races to go. Chicago would have to be McDowell. That's 12. Pocono and Indy will get normal winners, most likely. Let's be realistic. So those are your 2 that you can afford, a Larson and a Hamlin winning. But then we go to Michigan. I look at Bubba Wallace has run historically well there, so let's give that one to Bubba. After Michigan is Richmond. Richmond, Josh Berry at the short tracks. There you go. That's 3 more, so we're at 14. We need 2 more winners. Daytona, anyone's game. Let's give it to Todd Gilliland. That's 4, but that one could be anyone. And then Darlington. Someone said Eric Jones earlier. Let's go with Eric Jones for now, but yeah, that's how it would happen, I think. The only instance where I don't see that happening, like let's say we get a Larson win at Darlington, then maybe a fuel mileage race at Pocono or Indy. Maybe that's how it happens. But that's where I would look in terms of looking for new winners. I'd say a road course, a super speedway. We got one of each. Richmond could very well be Josh Berry. I would heavily pick Josh Berry if we're looking at a new winner at Richmond. Michigan, as I said, Bubba's run really well there. And then, let's see here. I mean, Indy's, someone said it in the comments. Yeah, I mean, Indy's been, it's a new track essentially with the next gen car. So someone could show up and hit the setup perfectly, and Chase Briscoe finds it and hits it perfectly and he wins, something like that. So I'd say it's unlikely. I think we end up with 13. I think that's a good guess. Well, no. Add Truex. Truex will win a race, I think, before the end of the regular season. So Truex will win one. So that's 12. So yeah, 14. What I said initially, 14. I think Truex wins one. I think Gibbs wins one. And then I think we get a mystery winner, which could be someone around the bubble. That's my prediction. Do you watch Monster Energy Supercross very often? No, have not watched any of it, so sorry to disappoint. Any opinion on the Eric Almirola news? Yeah, I made a video on it. It's obviously we don't have all the facts in front of us, but it's a bizarre way to get suspended, man. We've seen people get suspended for right-rearing someone, as we've just actually talked about a few minutes ago. People have got suspended for off-track things. People have gotten suspended for, crew chiefs get suspended for leaving loose lug nuts, or, a loose wheel gets off the car. But getting suspended for fighting someone in a team meeting, that's a new one. Obviously, we don't know what went down, but JGR Toyota, the people who made the decision, viewed it as Almirola's fault, as Almirola being the instigator. So I'll take their word for it. But it's, as I said, it's just bizarre. It's weird. It's such an incident that, man, like, if you told me Eric Almirola got suspended before the season, I would have said, okay, who did he intentionally wreck or whatnot? But just such a weird way to get suspended. But he'll be back at Indy. But as I said, weird, man. Daniel Dye maybe to the AM15. That would be interesting, I guess. Haley Deegan's brothers race in Supercross. Yeah, I know her family's big in Monster Energy or something. I don't know much about her family. All I know, as I said, is that they're involved in Monster Energy. They do some other racing series, but yeah, no, I've never watched Supercross, so I could not even name her brother. Something Deegan. All right. Ooh, I know what I'm going to look up. See, this is when it would have been nice to actually, have you guys see the standings or the fantasy standings, but unfortunately, my dumb self did not get this set up quick enough. So my lineup got screwed at the end because Elliott was running top 5, top 10 most of the race, and he ends up only getting 24 points. I had Reddick. I will admit I got saved there at the end. Byron, I don't know what happened to Byron at the end, but bad result. Truex got wrecked on the last lap. Bowman did all right. Chastain was my backup. Thankfully, I didn't put him in. But looking at Chicago this week, I am going heavy on road course guys this week. Because this isn't Coda. It's not Watkins Glen. It's not Sonoma. It's the second time we've been here. It's a street race where mistakes will happen. Shane Van Gisbergen will be in my lineup. Michael McDowell will be in my lineup. AJ Allmendinger will be in my lineup. And then I got to find 2 more spots. I'll put Joey Hand in there. I don't know. Yeah, Joey Hand's racing this week for RFK. I might actually do that. All right, fantasy standings. Dan the Jets fan leading. Zerkman 95 is only 9 points behind. They're doing good. I thought they'd pulled away, but I can't do math. Big Hat LJ just 30 or so points behind. Pins _ 22 is 4th. Dr. Zero 5th. I am 6th. I've moved up a spot. Good for me, I guess. But I'm also like 100 points off the guy in front of me. RT Racing 7th at Factor Autosport Incorporated 8th. 9th is Hell on Wheels 24. 10th is Matt Smith 53. 11th is PC _ 18. 12th is Otterbear 8. 13th is Micah MLB 15. 14th is Tyler Hernandez. 15th is Stevie G. 16th is Shane Van Hamburger Buns. 17th is 45 and 23 11 fans. So there you go. Yeah, I don't know how the playoffs work in fantasy. I don't know if like they limit it to 16 or whatever, but if they do, 45 and 23 11 fan, you gotta get on it. You gotta make up a couple hundred points here. No pressure. Let's see here. Logano's win basically seals the deal for everyone. Must win. Yeah, as I said, I feel like if you even Bowman, who's 51 points ahead, like you can't feel good about yourself right now, because as I said, if McDowell goes out and wins this week, then you're behind the cutoff line all of a sudden. Like you're plus 51, which normally is good, but you're also the first guy in. You're not in a good position. All it takes is everyone runs out of fuel at Pocono, and I don't know, 51 car wins, and you're out. All it would have taken is a Zane Smith victory, and you're out. So, as I said, yeah, Logano winning. Obviously, he wasn't massively behind the cut line, but he needed a win. A win makes it easier, and he was right on that bubble, so it made life more difficult for a lot of guys. So, yeah, very, very tough for sure for those guys. As I knock something off my chair. Your pick this week. So I'm guessing that means your top 5. Chase Elliott, William Byron, Kyle Larson, Justin Haley. That is it's quite the top 5. But let's talk about Chicago predictions. I gave you my Xfinity picks. So Cup, the weather's going to be normal. So I think this will make it a more normal race, a more normal road course race. It's not going to be as good as last year's if I had to predict in terms of quality of racing. I don't even think we see, as I said, I'd say McDowell would be the guy to pick if you're going to pick a non-normal winner. Shane Van Gisbergen, I mean, if he was in a Trackhouse car, I think he'd be contending for the win. But Kaulig has been so bad on the Cup level this year. If he qualifies well, then I'll absolutely put him in contention for the win. It's not that I don't trust him. I don't trust Kaulig on the Cup side of things right now. They just don't have the speed. They don't have the competitiveness, and just ultimately, I think Shane Van Gisbergen's going to get a top 10, maybe even top 5. But as I said, I don't trust Kaulig, so I'm not going to pick him to win. I'll say he finishes 8th. I'll go with that. But I look at Larson and Bell, honestly. Bell dominated this race last year before the poorly timed caution and the shortening of the race. Kyle Larson, just like SVG, had to drive up through the field to finish in the top 5, and he looked really good at the end there. So I think it could come down to those two. And as I said, we could see a weird winner. We could see a wacky winner. It's very possible, but I'm going to go boring. I'm going to go Kyle Larson. I think he kind of redeems himself in a sense from this past week and the stupid crash with Chastain, just destroying a bunch of cars, and he kind of just wins. I don't know how he does it. I don't know if he dominates, but I'll say if I had to pick an early top 5, Larson, Bell, Reddick. Reddick's got a really cool paint scheme this week, a Michael Jordan paint scheme. If he wins in that, that'll be a really cool picture. But I'll go Larson, Bell, Reddick. I'll go McDowell 4th. 5th. I'll go. It's tough. Let's go Chris Buescher. Let's just go random for that last one. I mean, it's not that random, but Buescher's been really good, really consistent on the road courses. So I'm going to go Buescher 5th. Do you think Corey Heim goes to Cup next year for 23XI? Yeah, I still believe that. Rumors have swirled that Riley Herbst could potentially be in that car. And yeah, Herbst has the funding, but I just think at the end of the day, I think Heim's the better option as a driver. I know he may not bring the funding that Herbst brings, but I just think that's probably my pick in terms of who's going to be in that car if that car ends up happening. But yeah, silly season's still in full effect. But the big thing is that the charter negotiations, man, they got to get that figured out before Trackhouse opens a third team, before 23XI opens a third team. They've got to figure that out. They've got to figure out who's on the third team or where they get the third charter, how much they got to pay for the third charter. I mean, there's so many questions around it, and I feel like we're not going to hear anything until it happens. I know Front Row, they were just like, yeah, we got a charter. Cool. Charter negotiations aren't going our way, or, it hasn't been signed yet. Oh, who cares? We'll do it anyways. But yeah, it's crazy. Tyler Ankrum is having a solid year. Yeah, he is. He was leading the points earlier in the season, but now he's doing good. Yeah, 4 top 5, 6 top 10s. Well, that's all I got for today. Sorry this stream did not go the way I intended, the way that you wanted to see it. Different background, as I said. By next week, I hope to have this figured out. I hope to have this to where I can sit down here in the corner and show you the point standings, show you the playoff bubble, show you the race results, show you the fantasy standings, but ultimately we are not there yet, which sucks, as I said, but we'll figure it out some point, some way. So, yeah. Thanks for watching this. Hope you enjoyed. Tomorrow, 5,000 subscriber special. Hope you can watch it. Hope you can be there. I'm looking forward to making it. It'll be a fun one. But as I said, thanks for being here. Glad you guys asked the